Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood.
USA! Hello, and welcome to the Chat, the only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with cars? I'm John Bishop.
And I'm Lucas Southworth, and John, may I say another perfect intro?
Absolutely. And this is America?
Don't get you tripping, though. No, but it is the Chat. Did you already say that? I've already forgotten. You are the only podcast, all that jazz?
Yes.
Great. Incredible. So I was right before when I said it was a perfect intro.
But not when you said, as always.
Yeah, that's true. But John's right. This is American. And we're doing, if you look at the old calendar, if you listen to this on release date, tomorrow is the American Day for all us Americans. So, John and I, known patriots that we are, decided to do an episode about it.
Absolutely.
And we decided this, I don't know, maybe a week ago?
Yep.
And then I think both independently were like, yeah, we'll be able to think of stuff for that.
Yeah, we know stuff about America.
I've lived here my whole life.
And I've lived here for at least 14 years.
You haven't lived here for my whole life, so there's that.
True. And there was 2 weeks in which I did, I was alive in Japan, so that's something.
I wouldn't say a 2-week trip to Japan would count as you living in Japan. I know you like...
Lucas, was I dead?
Sure, I knew the argument was coming. You're going to fight back, but...
Now, here's the thing. I went to Japan. I stayed in a house.
Sure.
And I was a student in Japan.
Yeah.
For 3 days. So that almost seems like something that would count. Now, does it count as much as the other students, the older students who stayed there for 6 weeks? No.
Anyway, John and I have been talking about non-flattering things about specific people we named from high school for a few minutes now, so I've cut that out. But we're back and we're talking about Independence Day, John, and I've thought of something.
Let's talk about it.
If we know for a fact that the American Revolution happened in the cars first, not just because we know that America exists, which we do, and because we know that history follows generally the same route as our world, but
we've seen a depiction of it.
The exact concept art that is our Twitter banner, albeit covered by a thing saying, let me see exactly what it says real quick. Number 67 comedy podcast in Madagascar, an unreliable source.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, no, I've never looked into that more, and I never will.
And hopefully it's still true.
Hey, hopefully it was ever true.
Yep.
But yes, we have seen some concept art for Cars 2, which for some reason depicts a battle in the American Revolution. Very relevant to the plot of Cars 2. In which seemingly the Redcoats won it because they are on the top of a hill raising a British flag. So that's pretty cool.
So it did happen, but the United States might not be a thing.
I mean, no, we know the USA is a thing, and the British did win battles. just not the war.
Lucas, the British, they don't win. What? What are you talking about?
No, famously, the British are an incredible military force throughout history. They've
Okay, but
certainly taken
what
some
strategy
losses,
did
but
we use to defeat them?
hide in trees and shoot them a bunch.
And also, don't stand in straight lines.
But the straight lines have been working up to that point. They had no reason to think that they wouldn't.
I know there's a lot more reasoning behind it, especially like with regard to, oh, it's a lot easier to command, but the idea of what if we just don't line up for them is mind boggling to me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know enough about like military theory to like really get into it, but it does seem pretty obvious to not do that, at least when, you get to the time when bullets are a thing.
If you can fire a cannon,
Yeah.
okay, so you got a line of people, and
Yeah.
that line is a different line also. So there's rows, there's columns, and you have a cannon, you can kill a lot of people with one shot. That's not good for being shot at.
Like in the Mel Gibson movie, The
The one
Patriot.
that has traumatized me by just making me think about that one thing where a cannonball hit a bunch of people.
Yeah. I remember I was telling this story the other day, so it may have been to you or on the podcast because that's when I tell stories, but it's also been a month since we recorded, so probably not. Uh, but when I was in the 8th grade, my social studies teacher, Mr. Wells, who I don't care naming him, showed us The Patriot,
Hmm.
uh, which, if you're wondering, is not particularly appropriate for 8th graders, but not that bad.
But that is the year they show it to you.
It is. And during the scene where the guy get either the one where the guy gets his leg blown off, or there's another one where like the guy just basically explodes, right, or his head explodes or something.
I think it's
Uh,
his chest gets caved in.
yeah, that's it. That's it. During one of those, I can't remember which. I want to say it's the one where the leg comes off. Mr. Wells said, "Whoa, did you guys see that?" And then paused it, rewound it, and played it at least 2 or 3 more times for
How do
us to
they
see.
how do
And
they get away with these things?
well, I remember we had to sign a permission slip because the Patriot is rated R.
Hmm.
We had to get a permission slip signed to watch it. So I guess you've given permission for your child to do it, so might as well take advantage of it. But I remember even in the 8th grade being like, this doesn't seem like a teacher thing to do. Like, I was like very, very deferential to authority for most of my life. But like, even then, where I was very not quick to question teachers, was like, I don't know about this one, Mr. Wells. Like, I didn't mind, but I was like, this seems odd.
Yep. Man, same with the weird amount of deference to authority, except if it's not pre-established. If it's not pre-established, I immediately will fight tooth and nail against it, and it's instinctual at this point. So there's a person who dislikes me, and it's for various reasons, but it's I was in a show with them, and they made the comment actors after I basically like snapped a little bit because someone had been for the entirety of the show like assuming a role of, all right guys, let's do this, and that is not something I'm chill about. It was like, hey, we have a director, we have an owner of
Yeah.
this company, and neither of those are you. So don't do that
Yeah.
because you're not in charge of anyone except for yourself. Uh, if you want us to do that, here's what you do: you ask,
Yeah, you
make
can
it a
make a.
question, and it's polite. If you tell me to do something, that's the opposite, and I'm gonna be mad. But man, nothing spoils that deference to teachers faster than becoming one.
Mm, yeah, I imagine.
Yeah,
Was
I
subbing
was a
pretty
sub
weird?
for a little bit, and boy howdy, you don't have to receive training. You don't have to be prepared at all. at all to be a substitute. And like there's an amount of disrespect aimed towards substitute teachers that I gotta say, some of them probably deserve. Uh, if you're the one disrespecting your substitute, I gotta assume you're disrespectful to a lot of people who don't deserve it. So don't feel vindicated in any way. Disrespectful students are something I'm very much against. But also, there is a reason that there's a certain attitude towards substitutes, and some of them are people who really want to be teachers and just haven't gotten a job yet. So that's real sad. But some of them are engineers in the waiting who haven't gotten a job yet. So yeah, yeah.
You know what that was for me? Uh, my current job, I work at a college, basically doing a lot of marketing for admissions,
Mhm.
and work very closely with like admission counselors, the dean of admission, a lot of folks who are like making decisions, about how the college works. And like I am we they are a group of phenomenal people who are great at their jobs, but there has been nothing more humbling in my mind than like when I applied for UK, I was like, so there's this group of like shadowy elites reading my application, combing through it, like just who know exactly what's going on at this elite institution, the University of Kentucky. Uh, and just being on the other side of it and how we're like, what if we do this? Could we do that? And then and be like, yeah, run with it, man. And then it happens, and it's like a thing that is like sent out to prospective students, or is like an event that they come to, and we're like, hey, we gotta figure this out. It's next week, man. The students are coming. It's been a real eye opener, and I imagine that's how the entire world works, is by people who are like, this can't be how the rest of the world works, though. It's just
Yeah,
my specific
yeah.
sector is all messed up.
No, like I've always had this mentality that's anti. Okay, so there's an ideal where people have it in their heads that, oh yeah, people know what they're doing. There's this thing about the professional, the artist, the any industry of like, oh, there are people who are so good or so genius that it couldn't possibly be replicated. And I have come to the like it was initially probably like just assumption and teenage angst of like, yeah, that's not a thing. And it's grown into a cemented idea of, oh yeah, no, like some people are definitely talented, but you cannot convince me that I need to respect certain people or positions beyond a certain level based on the idea that, oh, no one else could do it, because I am confident that literally everyone could be replaced by at least like 100 people. Like there are 100 people on this earth that could do what insert person does just as well. And
Yeah,
then
and
there are 10,000 that could do almost as good a job, and those people are probably dumb.
yeah, and like I think that's almost a good mentality to have, especially about like yourself,
Hmm.
like
Oh
because
man, I could be replaced so easily by just a guy who knows what CAD is and like is willing to listen.
yeah, and like that's a very delicate balance, because you can really easily get back into imposter syndrome, which God knows I've got pretty bad. Uh, but like also being like, no, people could learn how to do this, like,
Yeah.
because like also you got to remember your place of employment is not your friend, and they also know that you can be replaced.
Yeah,
So
they're
like,
not your friend, they're not your family. They put up with you as long as they view you as something they can milk money out of.
yeah, but also you're probably pretty good at what you're doing. Whatever it is you're doing, you're probably pretty good at it. And like let yourself feel that sometimes. Also, it's a delicate balance, like I said.
And I'm going to say the pessimistic version of that of even if you're not very good at it, if you're trying, you're better than a lot of people.
Yeah, hard work can make up for talent a lot of the times. Not always, but a lot of the time.
And being good is, of course, a thing that's subjective, but also like people will accept things that should not be considered good as phenomenal very readily.
Oh yeah.
Elon Musk, for example,
Uh, he is
he
how
is
600
a
posts a day.
businessman. Huh? He is a businessman who was born with a silver spoon shoved up his ass.
That's true,
Or
and
should I
it's
say
still
an
there.
emerald spoon?
Ah, yeah, because the apartheid. Uh,
Oh, yeah. And in case you're wondering, for another reason to dislike this man, he was raised in a place, experiencing apartheid and like has within the past few years expressed views that are very aligned with apartheid.
yeah,
Now, he
yeah.
didn't say anything about race, but he did say that uh, society should be very separate. And I'm not. I'm gonna paraphrase, but separate based on class. Boy,
Not
howdy,
to
that man.
mention literally all the other things he said. So
And the
you
fact
know,
that the use of racial slurs increased, was it 500% the day after he bought it?
pretty cool country, cool place, and that's what this episode's about. Now that I think about it, it's a patriotism episode, and
Mm-hmm.
what we were talking about is that the American Revolution definitely exists, and then we got on the Patriot. We should have known Mel Gibson of all people would lead us to racism. Uh,
Now, am I saying that he is definitely still a racist?
yes, I am. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Can I prove it? Give me some. Give me a day.
I imagine I could, but I guess I don't know. But
It wouldn't be like the easiest thing I've ever done, but like I am breathing right now, so it's a low bar.
John, musket ball hits a car. Not much happened, I feel like.
Depends on the force behind it. Uh,
From a
thing is,
musket.
from a musket, again, like you can overload
Sure.
or you can underload a musket, but like, so thing about a musket is you put a bunch of shrapnel in there, it's a blunderbuss. Uh, so like if you put a bunch of shrapnel in there and you shoot a person, they got tons of little bits inside them. You put a musket ball, it punch a hole through them. Musket ball's gonna at least dent a car significantly. Probably punch through a layer. But you put shrapnel in there, nothing. Like it'll scratch it. You're gonna scratch the paint.
See,
Or squishy bit, you hit them in the eyes, they're blind.
sure. Where I'm kind of
Big target, that is.
sure. Where I'm kind of getting a comparison in my head is car is to musket as human is to airsoft pellet.
Okay, but bigger airsoft pellet and also stronger
But like,
to like a paintball.
is that more damage than
I mean,
airsoft? I've only
for
ever
the
done
most part,
paintball.
I've not seen a paintball gun that like wouldn't do more damage than your average airsoft because there's only so much force you can put in an airsoft gun before the bullet will shatter. Paintball, it's just larger in general, and you can be a dick and freeze them.
Mm.
And my brother, not a frozen paintball, was shot with a paintball and just giant welt. You get an airsoft gun, and you're gonna get like a tiny little bruise,
Okay, so
unless you get a
paintball is
super
better.
powerful one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've done paintball. I haven't done airsoft, so I always thought airsoft was worse
you've
because I
done
was like,
paintball.
what?
That is not something I would imagine you would want to do.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This one of my friends in like middle school, but we went with them, and I was very bad at it, and I got hit a lot, and it hurt really bad. So I stayed in one place and never tried to hit anybody,
Okay,
and
yeah.
it left big bruises that I hated a lot. So, but
They
it didn't get anywhere near killing me. Is what I'm going to get at.
Well, here's the thing. If you want to prevent those bruises, you gotta layer up, which some people don't tell you, which is why my brother was so hurt by it, is because he
Sure.
was wearing just a t-shirt.
Ooh, it's
Yeah.
like a short sleeve T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh no, buddy.
It hit him on the trunk, so like it wasn't an arm graze or anything, but boy howdy, I think there was some blood.
Yeah, I imagine. That sucks, man.
Yeah. So for the most part, I could believe that musket not penetrating uh, anything that wasn't glass. But again, cars do have big weakness of extremely large eyes.
No, yeah, for sure. And there's a very famous quote from the American Revolution that is, "Don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes."
Because you can't aim with these guns.
That is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think quite literally. But I imagine that would be sooner in the cards battle.
If you
But
can see them, you can see the whites of their eyes.
yeah, their eyes are mostly white, as
Yeah.
opposed to humans, which I would say maybe like 50% of what you can see at any given time, if that.
Man, I was trying to like think about it. I'm like, well, what if someone's like squinting, or what if they have like just the widest of open eyes? And they're like, no, yeah, for the most part, you can probably see roughly 50.
So I guess maybe they're aiming for it. I like that. But I
And
will
it's
say,
don't shoot unless you're aiming for the whites of their eyes.
yeah, if you were to try to kill people with a paintball gun, going for the eyes is probably a good strategy.
Well, if it's a paintball gun, I would say aim for the eyes first if you're trying to kill them.
Yeah,
But I don't think that shooting them in the eyes repeatedly would kill them. I mean, then again, it's probably the closest to direct access to the brain.
yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like, if you can get one in their open mouth, maybe that would ruin enough stuff.
Make them
But
choke
like,
on it.
yeah, like their nose wouldn't handle it well either, but that would just hurt them. So I'm thinking the eyes. Like, if you hit them in
Yeah.
the throat, that would. I don't think that would kill them. I think it would certainly put them out of commission for a second as they,
Now that's where I think
recover.
I'm aiming is you aim for the eyes and then maybe you aim for the nose and then the throat, because what you're wanting to do is like get it to swell so much that it either
Sure.
cuts off circulation, or if you get the nose first and then the throat, that they can't breathe. But
Sure.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Just to be clear, I probably don't have to say this. Don't kill people with paintball guns. Uh,
I'm going to go a little bit further and say don't kill
don't
people.
kill people. Yeah. Don't play paintball. I'll also say that. It sucks. Uh,
If you have all the protective gear and it's something you are passionate about, sure. But if you aren't sure about it, I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably not for you.
yeah, I feel like every person who's ever been like, "Oh, I love this," knew before they went that they would like it a lot.
And if you think I'm I'm pretty sure this is my thing, you're probably right. But if you think that could be fun, probably not.
Probably it's probably not for you. But I like that we've done another American Revolution in there. Don't shoot till we see the lights of their eyes. I'm a big fan of that.
Mhm.
There are
Oh
other
boy.
things. Let's see. So I gotta imagine Boston Tea Party, right?
Boston
That's
Tea
got to be
Party.
oil and an ecological disaster.
Now here's the thing. I do still think it's tea.
It's so much more fun if it's an ecological disaster, though.
Yeah, but in Cars 2, they do establish that tea is a thing, that British people are, haha, they're British.
Yeah, I think they do. Mm.
So, yeah, it's probably still tea, and it's probably still offensive to Native Americans.
Oh, for sure. They don't. They never change the things that are offensive in the Cars movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
like, you could, but they're not gonna.
but they don't.
Now, is this a part of the Disney mentality of we're not going to remove it, instead we're going to raise the issue so that we can discuss how this was a bad thing? But also, like, it's Cars and it's Cars 2, so like you don't have to take Cars 2 seriously.
God knows we don't.
In fact,
Uh,
it's better when you don't.
actually, I gotta say, if anyone takes Cars 2 seriously, it would have to be the two of us. Like,
Hmm.
just factually, we probably take
And
Cars 2 more seriously than most.
the number and the too much one.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
John, do you
man.
know more things about the American Revolution? I'm struggling a little bit.
Well, the American Revolution, as everyone knows, is something my father and I have had a discussion about, which my father became very disappointed in me with. In which I basically said, "Hey, uh, voting is important and all that, but like, don't pretend for a second that like there weren't some bad motivations there. Like the people who got all the poor people to sacrifice their lives, they
Yeah,
also wanted to control those people. Like the
yeah,
American heroes that got everyone to stand up and fight also wanted power for themselves, and like also killing people over all that. I'm gonna take a hard stance and say that it's not a very pro-life thing to do. Killing people in general not very positive in the direction of life.
and he took that well.
He took it as well as my father could. I didn't mention the pro-life part because
Sure,
I've had
I
discussions with my father about that, and boy howdy, trying to explain to this man things that he will not listen to. Of like, oh, did you know that included in a lot of your abortion statistics are miscarriages?
yeah,
Because miscarriages are technically, by the definition of doctors, abortions, which I think is messed up.
yeah,
But yeah, that's a thing, Dad, that I don't want you to ever talk to my wife about
yeah.
for reasons, okay? So yeah, don't. And that was an uncomfortable conversation that I had with my dad.
Good on you for having it, though.
Yeah, man, having conversations with my dad that are uncomfortable became a theme of the past 5 years. Trying to explain to my dad that the Proud Boys were, in fact, fascists and
Yeah,
bad and just openly racist. That was weird. And then I would show him. Uh, there are things where I'm like, that's not proof, that's just evidence. Proof that they are.
yeah,
What was not enough for him. I was like, oh, you're just picking and choosing your websites. And I'm like, no, Dad, I have specifically clicked on every single site, and out of the first 20 results, all of them but one agreed with me, and the other one didn't say anything. And also, I chose specifically the websites that you're likely to listen to.
yeah.
Hello, Breitbart.
Ooh,
Going to Breitbart and seeing, yeah, the Proud Boys are fascist, that's weird.
yeah.
And if there's anything to be like, hey, good on you, Breitbart, I guess it's that.
I guess. I guess. That does remind me of one of my all-time favorite. Do you know the Twitter account Drill?
No.
Uh, DRIL. One of the best accounts out there. Posts absolute nonsense. One of his my favorite ever is he tweeted issuing correction on a previous post of mine regarding the terror group ISIS. You do not, under any circumstances, gotta hand it to them. Which, of course, reminded me of the Breitbart.
You really don't gotta hand it to him.
You really don't. You don't have to. That's the thing. You don't gotta. Also, talking about your dad reminded me of a thing. I've had a question about your son and his name for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so you are named John Cameron Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
You were called your middle name for a good portion of your life, but then decided to go by your first name instead, in part because you didn't like your middle name,
Yeah.
or at least being used as your first name. But you have also named your son a name that he goes by his middle name.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the issue is less that it was your middle name and more that you just didn't like the name Cameron that much.
It does mean crooked nose.
Sure, I'm just curious about that a little bit. About if you thought about that at all, about the fact that you went by your middle name for a while and then stopped, and you are calling your child by their middle name,
Well, I'm calling my son by a
a
nickname
nickname
of his
of their
middle
middle
name.
name.
And
It's true.
here's a part of it is my middle name does mean crooked nose, which I don't know if everyone's going to agree with this, but I would say is an insult.
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
Also, when I was young, I was motivated by, admittedly, a bit of homophobia. I
sure,
was like, "That's a girl's name. I don't want to be a girly boy." Uh, and I grew up eventually, thankfully. Uh,
sure,
but by the point that I had grown up, I had also like gone by John for a larger portion of my life, and I think that Rory's going to be okay with it for a few reasons. One is that his name is actually not an insult. It
true.
means Red King, and
Yeah,
it's based on Roran Stronghammer, one of, if not my favorite character from the Inheritance cycle. And well, there's those cool things, and also like I named him John for a few reasons. One of which is I like the safety rule of you give them a fun name and then you give them a boring one in case that
sure,
doesn't work out. And
sure,
I don't know if he's going to want to go by the boring name, especially seeing as how the more students I see or hear about, the crazier the names get as time goes on.
sure,
I don't know if it's ever going to cycle back to like, oh yeah, everyone has a boring name. Like the most exciting name is Kyle, but no, I think names are just going to get more and more wild, and he's going to probably want to like, if he's like me or no, well, hopefully a little bit in this way of like, oh, I'm not going to go whole hog into it, like call myself laser, but I'm also not going to be super boring about it. Then again, if he decides to go by John, of course we'll call him that.
sure.
But I will say that I've never done that to my family. My
Mm,
rule is my family calls me Cameron because that's what they've always called me.
yeah,
My mother named me Cameron. She gets to call me that.
yeah,
Uh, Even if I don't like the whole "it's an insult," she never meant it that way. She
yeah,
just thinks it's a nice, pretty name, and that's nice.
yeah.
And if you knew me before I changed the name, you're allowed to call me whatever you want. In general, in life, you're allowed to call me a lot of things. I
Mm,
just kind of go with it. But I think John fits better. I think
sure,
Rory fits him better.
yeah,
He's also, I think, going to become Thor, so
sure,
probably wants a name that means king.
yeah. Just to be clear, I think you know this, but that was not me judging how you've chosen to name your child. I just thought about that the other day and haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's completely fair. And part of me was worried that you were going to have assumed that he was in some way named after my father, and technically he is on account of he's named after me,
Yeah. Sure.
but even my father is named after someone, so
There you go.
yeah.
That was a
Funny
fun little
enough,
sidetrack to go down.
his my father also dislikes his middle name,
Hmm.
and his middle name's a fun story. Have I shared it with you and have I shared it with the podcast?
Definitely not the podcast. I don't remember it, but that doesn't mean you've never told me that, knowing myself.
All right, so his middle name is Granville.
One more time.
Granville.
Granville. Okay.
hmm and it's because I think his like great grandfather, maybe uncle, uh, was named that supposedly, and then he found out that it was misspelled. It's not the correct spelling of Granville, so that was frustrating.
Yeah.
And then he finds out later that he was named after someone I think named like John G, and someone had just said to his mother, uh, yeah, the G stands for Granville. Well, it turns out it doesn't.
It's an
He is
interesting mistake to make.
he is named Granville after a man whose middle name is G.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
to my understanding, it's not like GEE, it's just G.
Yeah, I know, and this may not be the case. I know it's not always super common in all cultures to have a middle name. So I feel like I've heard upon like immigrating to America, a lot of people just made up a middle name or like did an initial,
Mm.
which it is certainly not necessarily the case with this guy, but
I mean, I don't know how far back the Irish goes, but
sure.
might could be.
Cool. That's an interesting story.
Yeah. Boy howdy. Um, this is a weird thing to share. I think we have, but so Liz's mom has made an absolutely absurd statement before that she is like a quarter Latina,
Has she really?
and that's
Oh
insane,
no,
right?
Christina.
It's true. She took a DNA test and found out that
Uh,
she is, in fact, 1/4 Latina,
does that make Lizzie an eighth Latina?
and it makes Rory a 16th.
All right. Well, I guess I could. No, I'm not gonna say I can see it because I didn't.
No,
Uh,
they're Liz, extremely Irish looking.
yeah.
Like, concerning to me the more I think about it. Of like, yeah, we're both very Irish.
Huh.
I'm like 40% maybe.
Well, I mean, Rory is a great name for an Irish looking
Yep,
child. So
for an Irish. Uh, now, for a Latino Irish, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. That 16th. That seems it still seems a little questionable at best. Would
Yeah,
make
and
him.
like you could say what you're gonna say about like passing and whatnot, but like Christina, I would not say is passing for being like I would say she okay no reverse of that. I was saying passing for
Yeah.
Latina. She is very much passing as a Latina, I guess.
Yeah. Like.
And Rory, he is 100% Aryan.
Yeah, he's not going to have the lived experiences of the Hispanic or Latino communities or
Yeah, he is
community.
going to have the I don't know, the lived experience of a Snow White.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair skin, beautiful blue eyes, blonde hair.
Hmm.
It's going to go away. He's going to lose that.
He's kept it for a long time, man. I thought that too.
I mean, I was like 4 when I lost it.
Okay, that's I guess I don't know when that happens because I never did.
It just
Uh,
gradually gets darker and darker as you
yeah,
go. Like his cousin Emma, also blonde hair, and they looked like twins for a little bit, but she's growing up. Obviously, she's a bit older than him,
hmm,
and her hair's at this point, I would say maybe light brown instead of dark blonde,
sure,
whereas his is still getting to like the dark blonde point.
sure. So,
Oh
John,
boy,
while
America.
we were talking about all that, that wasn't the American Revolution. I did. I want to establish. I do know other things about the American Revolution, but like, I don't know, man.
We both don't know more about the
Taxation.
American Revolution that is funny.
Yeah, that's it. The Stamp Act, we can talk about it, but like, I don't know, they probably put a tax on stamps. Of course, Bruce.
I mean, you
Um,
say that, but like, how important are stamps in a world where people are planes?
yeah, I don't know. Paul Revere did a
Did he
British's
ride
coming.
another
Yeah,
vehicle?
that's. I was thinking about that.
Did he ride a tractor?
Could be, could be. He maybe had a trailer, which we say is a horse
Yeah.
sometimes. But I think, and this is not an American Revolution episode; it's a Fourth of July episode. But I'm just so scared to leave American Revolution because I've thought of nothing else to talk about. That's
All right. What about Independence Day, the film?
the film about aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I
Welcome
saw
to
it once
Earth.
a long time ago.
How much weirder is it if Mater has to fight off some of the unidentified, was it flying maters?
It is, in fact, unidentified flying maters.
All right, how awful is that going to be when like that one comes back and he has to punch it in the face and say "Welcome to Earth"?
Now, one, an incredible vignette you've created. But two, I do need to correct ourselves. The short is called Unidentified Flying Mater. The creature is Mator.
Oh, of course, Mator. He has to
And
punch
Mater
his own
is
face in.
Mater is it's Mater's monster. He is Doctor Mater. Is the
Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna have to punch his own face in
Pretty
and
much.
say "Welcome to Earth," which I have to insist on him saying because although it's going to be rude for him to be uh, taking that affectation of Sir William Smith, uh, it's too good.
It is very good. You
It
brought up a
is
good
very
point.
good, and I know that like there's an uncomfort, a discomfort when it comes to talking about Will Smith because of the act of violence on the stage, but also I can't get rid of all of my affection for the man.
And like we can all agree we can all agree that what he did was like a lot, but we can all agree that like the reaction to it was also a lot, right?
The reaction to it was also a lot, especially seeing as how like Harvey Weinstein has been thanked at more of those events than
Yeah.
God.
Like he shouldn't have hit the man. The man also shouldn't have made fun of his wife, even though I don't think it was whatever. I'm not going to get into that.
I mean, he clearly didn't know it was because of
Yeah,
an actual medical condition
yeah,
that this woman was losing her hair. He probably just thought, oh yeah, a lot of black women do have shaved heads. This is
yeah,
just a
yeah,
thing. He probably just thought it was chill. So like I don't know, maybe do your research before you make the joke, but also I'm pretty sure someone else wrote the joke and he just said it, so like you can't fault all of it's a tough situation. I don't know if
yeah. That nobody did a
no
good
one
job
was in the
with,
right.
including the public reacting to it.
Yeah, no
So
one was in the right. And here's the thing. I got to
yeah,
say, it was a
uh-huh.
slap and a slap is meant to disrespect someone, not to harm them.
Yeah,
It was an act of aggression. It was a physical assault. It was bad. But like even his own decision in that moment of I'm choosing violence was to, well, I don't actually want to hurt this man.
yeah.
So like there's so much to discuss with that. Unlike the
The
4th of
cars
July.
racing fireworks. Is that anything?
All right. Cats aren't really that afraid of fireworks. So
True.
like the thing that we know is a creature that exists. Like do we have an analog for dogs?
We've never been able to do a good one. I know we've probably said 100 different things or dogs,
Mhm.
but I don't think we've ever settled as a good one on a good
We
one.
know
Like,
for sure what cats are.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh boy. So like, hey, cars, let your dog analog come in.
Hell yeah, bud. You have some hearing protection, even. Some of
Mhm.
them won't gel with it, but some of them will, you know?
I don't know how I feel about anti-anxiety medication for dogs, but like do your research. Maybe consider it. I don't know. Dogs deserve all the best. I love dogs.
Dogs are really good, is the
Hmm.
thing.
And I
And,
know a lot of people aren't going to be as comfortable with doing what I do with my dog when she's upset by storms and uh, fireworks, but hey,
which is
comfort your
podcast.
dogs. Well, when
No,
it's
I thought,
bad,
sure,
I
I
uh,
know.
I straight up will like spoon my dog.
That's nice,
Uh,
I guess.
More often, it's like she'll be rolled up in my legs, which is cute. But like when she gets real bad shaky, I'll hold her. Oh boy.
The American flag. Okay, you know how they have to do a lot of rigmarole with flags?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be hard to do that if you were a car, right?
Yeah, but you know who's gonna be on the flag team in high school?
It's gotta be Guido.
Well,
Well, the
he's
Italian
not
flag team.
American. I don't know if he's got his citizenship, but
I'm gonna say Guido's a dual citizen for
sure. But
no
like
real
when he
reason.
was in school,
Oh, he
I'm
was
pretty
for sure
sure.
in Italy.
Yeah. So like his kind for sure.
Yeah, but Guido specifically would be very good at that.
Are flag teams a thing around the world?
I gotta think no. I gotta think it's one of the weird things.
Because
Like
like
when we tell
America's really proud of its flag.
Yeah, it's like when we tell people about the Pledge of Allegiance, they're like, "They make you do what? Are
Now
you sure?"
you say that, but when I was in Japan, they did have a thing that they made you stand up and sing. Now, it
Mm.
was the Beatles, but hey, and it was for English class.
Oh well, there you go. That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and of course, I was trying to be misleading there. It was just nice. And here's a fun fact about me:
Sure.
it was the first time I had ever experienced Obladi.
Oh, that Obla Di Obla Da. That's my favorite Beatles song.
Yeah, it's probably mine too, but I first experienced it at the age of 14 in Japan.
Incredible. Part of the reason is I just don't really like the Beatles that much.
Same,
I
same.
recognize that their music is good, just to be clear, and that their impact is incredible. Just their music isn't my favorite.
Now, here's I'm going to take it back to
Go
earlier in
for
the
it.
episode.
Do it.
I have made the statement before, and I'm going to stick by it, that like if the Beatles hadn't been there would have been a different Beatles.
Yeah, probably. Someone was going to do it.
Yeah, it's like, man, when people go on about how phenomenal Sinatra was, I'm like, he was a good, talented singer who was supported financially by the mafia. You know this, right? Like, his success was because of that. And sure, like, he did some good progressive things, but also, like, good progressive things for his time aren't as impressive. And, I mean, they're equal parts more and less,
Sure.
which is weird. Because, like, I love the statement of, yeah, Tolkien, he was progressive for the
About
40s.
most things.
He was still a bit racist,
Yeah.
but like he tried to work on it.
Yeah.
Like he got a letter in the mail from Nazis saying, "Hey, we love your representation of Jewish people as being these money-grubbing dwarves." And then he wrote Gimli to be the opposite of all of the stereotypes he had given into because he felt bad about it. So
What?
yeah, like he worked on it, but also for the 40s.
What
Oh boy.
an incredible lesson that one author that we talk about too much, just in general as a society, could have learned with her representation of goblins and Gringotts. But
Mhm.
she did the opposite.
Yeah,
But
and
also,
then
John,
took a hard stance of, "Oh no, what I say goes."
then she said a lot of other stuff. Uh,
Vanish me poopums.
then she did vanish their poopums. John, I found a great way that is related to the episode to finish us out. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Good, because it's the wiki quote of the day. We're finishing with it this time of the day.
Give me that freedom of the day.
We are going over to pixarcars.fandom.com/wiki/United States. And
Mm.
there's a lot of things I like about this page. Maybe the thing I like the most, we don't need to spend a lot of time of it, but on like a wiki page, they have the thing on the right that sort of has like continent, capital city, like a breakdown of basic information about it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this one has appearances and lists, as far as I can tell, every piece of Cars media that exists, which is deeply funny to me. Uh, but I am going to read. Let's see. First, I'll just read the first sentence, which is the United States of America, or USA, is a country that is located in North America. It appears in the Cars and Planes series. Great. But then, John, it does list states, and several of them are just our states, but some of them have listed how they are sometimes car punned, so I'd like to just go through those.
All right.
Here's one. How about I tell you the state and you tell me what you think the car pun could be? And if
Okay.
that gets too stressful, we can stop doing that.
If it gets too stressful, we keep going harder.
Sure. We're starting off with New Jersey. You've run out of time.
Okay.
It's New
New
Gearsy.
Carsy. New Gearsy.
No,
Okay, that's
New
better.
Gearsy. California.
Carnifornia.
California.
California.
This
That's
one.
pretty close.
Yeah. Texas.
Oh, Texco.
Tex Gas.
Okay.
John, you're not going to get this one. Florida.
Florida.
Florita. I don't know what the car, but Florit is what it is. Okay.
Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. Nebraska.
Okay. Nebraska. Nebraska?
Nebraska.
Oh, that's
I
better.
like that one actually. Georgia.
Oh, I got nothing.
Georgia.
They're
That
just
one
throwing
doesn't.
gear in there.
That one doesn't work too good. Illinois.
Okay, this is dumb, but Illinois.
I like that one, but it is Illinois.
Again,
Not
that is better.
yeah. Michigan. This one may be my favorite.
Michigas.
No, it is Trans Michigan.
Oh no, that's so much better.
Right. That's pretty good. Then we got Mississippi.
Mississippi.
I do like that one. I thought for a second I was like, that you just said it bad. It's Misfires Ippy. Misfires Sippy.
Misfire Sippy.
Yeah. And then let's see. I don't even get this one. Virginia.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Ringinia? Ringinia? Like wrench? That can't, there's
Is
that
it W?
WREN, then Genia.
Yeah, that's Wrenchginia.
Well, the thing is it isn't, but that's fine.
They're just
What?
thinking mechanics.
Yeah,
Gears and wrenches.
which as the person who often does the title puns for these, speaking of, I don't have one for this one, which I'll come up with. Uh I do get it. You gotta take what words even sort of slightly make sense and just
See,
run with them.
I do like my lazy approach of just say car in there somewhere.
It works more than I want it to.
Yeah.
Between car and van, you got
Mm-hmm.
most words.
Almost all of them.
Almost every word you can throw car or van into.
Yep.
But what a perfect way to end it. We talk so much about America and don't listen back to prove that. Thank you so much for listening. We know we've been crazy bad with uploading recently. Life stuff, you get it. But we're sorry.
Yeah, and stop judging us. I'm about to have another baby, and also they're getting married, so deal with it.
It's true. And house hunting feel even worse for us. The house
Mm-hmm.
hunting's worse than the wedding, let me tell you.
Especially in this economy.
But like actually in this economy.
No, seriously, it's insane trying
It's
to own a house right now.
It's really bad. But anyway, I was thanking you because we do mean that. We appreciate if you listen to this episode after us not uploading for straight up a month. Uh, and if you want to send us ideas, has become part of the outro, we clearly need them. So you could either email those to us at thekachat@gmail.com or tweet them at us at thekachat. Twitter's dying. But I don't know. I can't get on Blue Sky because I haven't figured it out yet. So you could still tweet them at us.
What's
Uh,
Blue Sky?
it's the Twitter replacement, but it seems not as, I don't know. Anyway, Del John says it's part of the outro.
All right, remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell anyone and everyone you think might be the least bit interested in this kooky, quirky, strange little podcast. And until next time, remember to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.